the most dangerous FBI operation ever attempted. In the world of law enforcement, there are operations and then there are missions that defy logic, sanity, and safety, all in the name of justice. This is the true story of the FBI's most dangerous undercover mission, a story that reveals not just the depth of corruption in American politics, but the extreme lengths the Bureau was willing to go to root it out. What started as a localized con spiraled into a multi-layered federal spectacle with national consequences. This wasn't a bust gone wrong or a sting operation with minor arrests. This was theater, political theater, criminal theater, scripted, funded, and directed by the FBI. What began as a strategy to clean up city halls turned into a high-stakes game involving mobsters, mayors, congressmen, and more. Let's pull back the curtain on Operation Abscam, the mission so surreal it makes Hollywood look tame. This is the story of how the FBI pretended to be rich Arab sheikhs and caught American politicians selling their souls, exposing a level of corruption few dared to imagine. The making of a con. The year is 1978. The FBI was under pressure. Years of scandal, public distrust, and internal chaos had bruised its reputation. J. Edgar Hoover was gone, and with new leadership came a desperate need to reassert dominance and legitimacy in the public eye. Traditional investigations weren't cutting it anymore. They needed something bolder, something dramatic. Enter John Good, an ambitious FBI agent based in Long Island, New York. He had an idea, a wild one. Use a convicted con man to help the Bureau run an even bigger con on corrupt public officials. The con man, Melvin Weinberg, a career hustler, slick talker, and financial swindler with connections, charisma, and a long rap sheet. Instead of jail time, Weinberg got a deal. Work for the FBI and help them expose corruption. In return, he'd walk free and earn a paycheck. With Weinberg's street smarts and the Bureau's resources, a new undercover persona was born. Kambir Abdulrahman, a fictitious, wealthy Arab sheikh with millions to spend on visas, real estate, and influence. To play the role, the FBI deployed agents in flowing robes and luxury cars, staging everything to perfection. What started small, targeting swindlers and mobsters, grew into a full-blown political earthquake. The sheikh, played by FBI agents in disguise, started making offers no corrupt politician could refuse. The plan was simple yet dangerous. Dangle large sums of money in front of elected officials and see who took the bait. But with every meeting, every bribe, the stakes grew exponentially. Lights, camera, corruption. The FBI set the stage like a Hollywood film. Hidden cameras, lavish hotel suites, piles of cash. Everything was meticulously designed to be irresistible. The opulence, the secrecy, the seduction of power and wealth. Agents booked luxury penthouses and posed as high-level representatives of the fictitious sheikh, backed by foreign oil money and political ambition. The script was simple. The sheikh wanted to invest in America, but needed a few political favors. In return, bribes, cash-stuffed envelopes, $50,000, $100,000, sometimes more, exchanged for promises of immigration visas, building permits, and legislative influence. They offered money to secure business licenses, open casinos, bypass zoning laws, and buy influence in Congress. Congressmen, mayors, city council members, they all came. They smiled, shook hands, and took the money. Some even offered more than they were asked. One congressman famously told the undercover agent, "You can give me $1,000 bill now if you want." Another offered to bring in additional colleagues if the sheikh was willing to spread the wealth. It wasn't just greed, it was comfort. These politicians had accepted corruption as part of the job, and the FBI was there to capture every second. The tapes, later released to the public, would stun the nation. These weren't under-the-table whispers. These were bold, brazen deals happening in front of rolling cameras. This wasn't a theoretical legal debate. This was film. These were elected officials looking directly into hidden cameras and accepting bribes. It wasn't just criminal, it was cinematic. The footage became historical evidence, irrefutable, undeniable, and damning. The country watched in disbelief as the people entrusted with their vote treated public office like a vending machine. The players and the false 7 members of the U.S. Congress were indicted. Alongside them, several city officials, including the mayor of Camden, New Jersey, and members of the Philadelphia City Council. They weren't just bribed, they were comfortable being bribed. It was a culture of corruption, not a few bad apples. Congressman Michael Myers, later expelled from the House, said with a smile, "Money talks in this business, and bulls on walks." Another congressman, John Jenrette of South Carolina, was caught bragging that he took the bribe to finance his expensive lifestyle. The nonchalance in their tone, the casualness of their betrayal, that's what shocked the public most. The fallout was seismic. Congressional careers were obliterated. Lives were ruined, and the public's faith in political integrity hit a new low. These weren't shady backroom deals. They were filmed in Marriott suites with briefcases full of cash. No denials, no speculation, just cold, hard evidence. Melvin Weinberg, the con man turned informant, became a legend overnight. John Good and the FBI team were hailed and criticized. Some accused them of entrapment. Others praised them for finally showing what the public always suspected, that corruption wasn't an accident, it was institutional. The operation cracked open the doors of American politics and showed the rot inside. Even decades later, the names involved still serve as cautionary tales in political science classes and legal textbooks. The footage is archived, replayed, and dissected by scholars and conspiracy theorists alike. Ethics backlash and legacy Operation Abscam didn't end when the arrests were made. In fact, that's when the real questions began. Was this justice or entrapment? Did the FBI go too far? Or did they simply expose how easily men in power fall when given the chance? The nation's legal and moral compass was put to the test. The operation became a legal and ethical battlefield. Defense attorneys argued that without the FBI's fake sheikh, these politicians wouldn't have committed any crimes. They claimed it was all staged and therefore invalid. This sparked heated debates about the limits of undercover work and the responsibility of government institutions to act fairly. But the courts largely disagreed. Most of the accused were convicted, sentenced, and served time. The argument was simple. They could have said no, but they didn't. Jurors found that when faced with corruption, these politicians didn't hesitate, and the law held them accountable for those choices. Operation Abscam forced a national conversation about political integrity, undercover ethics, and the limits of law enforcement. It also exposed how fragile the system really was, and how little it took to buy a vote. Some reforms were introduced, some agencies reevaluated their tactics, but the deeper disease of corruption proved harder to eradicate. Hollywood took notice. The 2013 film American Hustle, though fictionalized, was directly inspired by Abscam. But no dramatization could outdo the real thing. The characters, the dialogue, the betrayal, it was all too real, too raw, and too revealing. They staged America. Perhaps the most disturbing takeaway wasn't just that politicians took bribes, but how normal it seemed to them. These were elected leaders of the world's most powerful democracy. And yet, in the presence of an unknown foreign national offering bags of cash, they didn't blink. Operation Abscam revealed a deep sickness in the body politic. Not just individual greed, but systemic decay. The kind where ethics are flexible and loyalty is for sale. The FBI's sheikh wasn't just bait, he was a mirror. A mirror that showed what lies beneath the polished speeches and patriotic slogans. A hunger for power, privilege, and personal gain. The mission may be over, but its lessons still echo. In the end, Operation Abscam wasn't about a con man or a fake sheikh. It was about America, about the cracks in the foundation, about how easily trust can be bought, and how dangerous it is when power meets opportunity. The operation proved that in the land of the free, not all leaders are noble, and not all justice is clean. Sometimes to expose the truth, you have to play the villain, even if that villain wears a robe, a badge, or a turban. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe for more real stories that shake the system. Because the truth, it's stranger and more dangerous than fiction.